Hey traders, welcome back to my channel. Hope you had a great week this past week. In this video, I'm going to go through my step-by-step analysis for EURUSD, GBPUSD, and gold. So I will be starting with EURUSD from the weekly time frame and work my way down to the 4-hour time frame. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to identify the trend at the moment, and on the weekly time frame we can see that price has been in an uptrend, with price making higher highs and higher lows. So if we draw that, we can see the price is making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, and so that's how we know that we are currently in an uptrend. And for me, that's one of the most important things, to know what direction that we are heading to, and that will give us an idea of what we intend to do. And because I mostly swing trade, I would normally look at the long-term trend and see where price is heading and go down to a lower time frame to look for a good place to enter. So after identifying the trend, the next thing that I will do is to identify key areas of support and resistance. So here I can see a key area of support here, previously resistance there, and price broke through, came back to retest that area and then continue to the upside. I can identify another area of support as well, just around this area, and again this is on the weekly time frame, so by the time we go to a lower time frame, we might be able to identify or fine-tune this support and resistance area. And the last support that I'm going to, or resistance area, is the one up here. Okay, so now that we've identified this on the weekly time frame, we're going to go down to the daily time frame to again identify our trend, which on the daily time frame we can say is still an uptrend. We can see the trend line with price bouncing off at multiple areas. So you can see the first touch there, again second touch, third, fourth, and then you can see that there were multiple touches quite recently on the daily time frame. Good. So that's where we are at the moment. So looking at the daily time frame, we can see that this last daily candle is more of a doji candle, so there was a bit of indecision where price would go to next, and before that we can see this very strong bullish engulfing candle engulfing the previous candle over there, and again this coinciding with this trend line, so a bounce off this trend line. As a swing trader, this would have been a very good signal for a buy, and for me, I actually took a buy trade there, and I will be holding for a while to see how price reacts. Again, we can always go to a lower time frame, 4-hour time frame. This is where ideally I take my entries from, because compared to the daily time frame, you can always find a quicker way to enter on the 4-hour time frame, I would say. So again, we can see multiple bounces off this trend line here, and then the last bounce off this trend line was here, and then price now sort of continue to the upside. Okay, so as we are, if we go back to the daily candle, this would have been a good opportunity if you were a swing trader to enter the market over here, putting your buys, your entry there, your stop loss just below this last engulfing candle, and your take profit usually will be at least 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and that's what my advice would be for EURUSD. And to know where the next area is, this is one of the area here which I would put as my take profit 1, and then the next or where my final take profit would be if I go down to the weekly time frame, we can see this next area of resistance, and that essentially would be where my final take profit tool would be. So again, giving me at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio on that trade. Again, going down to the 4-hour time frame, especially if you're not already in this trade, I think when the market opens will still be a good opportunity for you to be able to enter this trade over here as well. So it's not too late to get into this Euro USD trade. So I'll say once the market opens next week, we can have a look at what sort of candle forms on the 4-hour candle, and then we can enter our market then. As long as it doesn't break and close below this trend line, I think the buy trade will still be solid. And I'll be expecting price to head down initially to the 1.183 area, and then possibly breaking it to the upside. So I'm expecting price to move up to this area here, see how price reacts, whether it bounces back down to trend line and then continue that move up, or if it just breaks this resistance area and then continue to the 1.19 area. So essentially this is what I'm looking at for Euro USD. My bias is bullish, based on the fact that we are currently in a bullish trend on the weekly and daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we were ranging a bit, but even in this range we can see that price has formed consistently higher lows, sorry. So higher lows there as well, and again higher lows there, and all this pointing against the trend line as well. So that is why my bias has been strongly bullish, and that's why I took the bullish trade there. And there's always an opportunity to enter once the market reopens on Monday. Next, I'm going to talk about my analysis for GBPUSD, again starting from the weekly time frame and work my way down to the 4-hour time frame. So on the weekly time frame, just like we did for Euro USD, for GBPUSD, we're going to identify the trend, which we can see here is an uptrend. Okay, so an uptrend on GBPUSD with price making higher highs and higher lows. Next, we identify key area of support and resistance. Okay, so an area of resistance will be up here, just around the 1.377 area. Area of support again down here, again around the 1.315 area. So these are the major ones that I can see. And then when we go down to the daily time frame, we can again fine tune that area. We can see the area of importance here, with price going to those areas to test it previously. So that's why I've identified that as my support. Again, we can identify a minor area of resistance here on the daily time frame. And we can see price testing it there as well on several occasions, and price currently at that level. So to enter this GBPUSD trade, you can go down to the 4-hour time frame. So if you didn't catch the initial entry when price bounced off this area, when it formed this double bottom pattern over here, this would have been a fantastic entry for you as a swing trader. Again, initially targeting here as your take profit 1 and the higher one as your take profit 2, so about 350 pips. At the moment, price is just around this resistance area, and what I'll be looking out for is to see how price reacts to that area. So will it go here, respect this sort of double top pattern, and come all the way back down to the trend line, see how price reacts. Either it bounces off the trend line back to this area, hopefully breaking it to the upside, or possibly breaking this down or even without price going all the way back down, continue to the upside and breaking this and continuing this up move. Okay, so based on what price action has been in the last few weeks, with price forming higher highs and higher lows, especially on the daily time frame and the weekly time frame, my expectation would be for price to break this support, this resistance level here to the upside. So I will be bullish on GBP USD, just like I was on Euro USD. Again, looking at this broadly, as I mentioned previously, that this, as we can see, is an inverse head and shoulder pattern as well, with this being the neck of the inverse head and shoulder pattern, and we'll just be waiting to see if price breaks that neck. So going back down to the 4-hour time frame, entries for GBP USD, I would say, would be when price breaks this resistance level around the 1.358 area. So if we see a strong break on the 4-hour time frame, or if the Monday candle, which is the daily candle, closes above this resistance area and closes above that, then I will be looking for more buy trades. That's when I would take my buy opportunities for GBP USD. So for example, if it breaks around there, I look to take my buy trade there. My stop loss will be below the daily candle that breaks that resistance area, and the stop loss again would be at this next resistance area, giving me about 2.7 to 1 reward to risk ratio. Okay, so that is my analysis for GBP USD. I've identified the key areas that I'm looking out for. I've identified my trend as well. I'm just waiting to see what sort of reaction price gets to this key area and wait for my confirmation before taking my trade. Finally, I'm going to look at Euro USD again from the weekly time frame and then work my way down to the 4-hour time frame. So as we can see on the weekly time frame, price has been again strongly bullish, moving to the upside, forming higher highs and higher lows, with price initially ranging for some time and then breaking out of the range. So if we do that, we can see that there is like a triangular pattern here that price formed on the weekly time frame, and then you can see the candle that broke out of that range strongly and closed as a strong bullish weekly candle, and then price from there just continued to the upside strongly. If we go down to the daily time frame, again we can see price broken out of this range and has just continued to the upside, and price currently is stalling a little bit at the moment, so it's slowed down now. And going down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see price again generally in an uptrend but has slowed down a bit, and so this will be our opportunity to try and get in on the trend. Okay, so if we draw our trend line again to see where price is, we can see multiple touches of this trend line there and the ones down here as well, and none has touched again up there. So after identifying the trend, we know price is currently in an uptrend, and it seems that price is retracing a little bit before again possibly moving to the upside, or might form a major retracement, and when I say major, meaning going all the way down to this previous resistance level, so either around here or where this previous high was and price broke that area, somewhere around there. Okay, so again going into the 4-hour time frame, we identify key areas of support and resistance now. So again, I'm just looking at the areas where price has tested, price got to, and there was a major reaction. That's essentially what I'm identifying now. As you can see, price got here, bounced down, came up strongly, broke through it, came down to retest before again moving to the upside. And we can see another sort of area of support down here as well. Okay. And we can also identify this area as an area of resistance, essentially. So where the highest gold has been. So what we can see is that price moving sort of higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, and then price now stalling where it failed to break this previous high from the lower high, again from the lower low here, because it's taking out this low, and then price has failed to break above this previous high here as well. So I'm expecting that price might come all the way down here again to touch this area, and we'll see how price reacts to this area again, if it does continue to the downside, or if price will keep on ranging until it gets to this trend line and the support area, or bounce off the support area to the upside. So what I will be expecting for this trade would be price to come back down a bit again to test this area here around the 3,620 area, and if price does come back down into that zone, then I'll be looking to take a buy trade if price gives me a buy signal. Otherwise, if price continues from where it is now to the upside and breaks this previous high here, then I'll be looking for more buy opportunities. Again, my bias for gold is a buy trade. I'm just following the trend, identifying key areas and seeing how price reacts to those key areas, whether price breaks those key areas or price bounces off that key area, and that will determine whether or not I will take an entry from there. So essentially, this has been my analysis for the three major pairs: Euro USD, GBP USD, and gold. I hope you found this video very helpful. If you have, kindly leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe to the channel for more analysis videos. Thank you very much for watching, and have a fantastic trading week. Cheers.